So welcome back to something we are calling the Flashback 5.
Flashback 5.
And what the Flashback 5 is during our big 5 of all this big summer films of the year, we're going to take a look back at a film that came out a little while ago. Like, how long ago, Vince?
This would be 1986.
Yeah, and it came out in the summer of 1986, and it is called
The Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Where's the You gotta do the Vince.
Huh?
You gotta do the Yeah, you know, Howard the Duck. Good job, Vince.
That's what you wanted? You wanted me to
Yeah, you gotta do the I can't sing the theme song without the
Oh, Howard the Duck.
There you go. Now you got it, Vince.
Huh? Ain't no way to explain him.
What?
Ain't no way to explain him.
So way back in 1986,
Howard the Duck.
I signed up for some sort of movie thing. I don't even remember what it was or how I signed up for it.
Ain't no way to explain him.
To where they would send me like free passes to go see, you know, films before they came out. Sort of like what GoFobo does now. And I got a pass to go see Howard the Duck, Vince.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and it was like this big. It was a big cardboard thing that came in the mail. And I thought I hit the freaking lottery. I mean, this was my golden ticket, Vince. This was it.
I think George Lucas was thinking the same thing.
George Lucas, Vince. I mean, come on. He was still the man back then. Not so much now, but back then he was still George Lucas. And here's a freaking movie produced by George Lucas about a talking duck. And I was like, this is it. This is the next Star Wars. And I'm going to see it before anybody else.
I remember seeing the comic of Howard the Duck in the late 70s, early 80s. I remember reading through them. I don't remember having any. Actually, I thought it was pretty freaking hilarious. It had this talking duck and who smoked cigars, and he's from another planet, and he comes here to this planet and, I don't know, fights crime, I guess, or at least that's what I thought at the time.
So then they got this great idea to make a live action film of this comic with a talking duck. I mean, who wouldn't make that movie?
And you got to realize this is actually before the big Marvel thing. It was actually before Iron Man, before Spider-Man, before the Avengers.
It was before Jar Jar too.
It's working.
I think the only thing out at that time was probably The Punisher.
The guilty will be punished.
The thing too is, I don't remember if I actually went to go see Howard the Duck. I don't have the memory of going to the show to go see this film. I don't. But I remember I had that freaking ticket and I was so excited.
And I was reading the book of it, and the book was hilarious. I was like, wow, I can't wait to see what they do with this movie. I didn't get to see it until it actually came out on VHS.
So, watching the film back then, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film, even though it's considered a terrible film. At least back then it was. It was considered one of the worst films that was ever made. Ever.
Yeah, I know. It didn't do so hot.
No, it didn't. It wasn't even warm. It wasn't even lukewarm. It wasn't even...
It wasn't Lucas warm.
It wasn't nothing. I mean, it came out and it laid the biggest egg at the box office.
That's it. No more Mr. Nice Duck.
But when I saw it, when I finally got to see it and watched it, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I got the humor about it. And I was like, wow, that's really great. I was really entertained by it.
So, flash forward all these years later, and Howard the Duck has been finally released on Blu-ray. And if you look at the cover of this, if I can get a close-up of this.
Finally. It took them forever to release it on DVD.
I mean, it's a great cover. It's a great poster for the movie. I mean, it's really fun.
I always liked this poster.
Yeah, and if you ever watch the trailer, which they do show on here, they never show Howard the Duck on the trailer. They show something coming from outer space, but they never actually show him in the trailer. And I think that might have hurt the film a lot, because when somebody actually sees him in the film, you're like, it's a talking duck?
What is that? That's a duck! That's a duck, man!
I don't know what they expected, but I don't think they expected that, is what I'm saying.
I don't think they expected a lot of what happens in this movie.
So, all these years later, now we have a trillion Marvel films. I mean, we have Guardians of the Galaxy. We have movies that have talking trees and talking raccoons in it that are spectacular. So, this film, if it came out today, I don't know if it would have been panned by all the critics, saying it was one of the worst films ever made, because we're used to it. I mean, we're used to talking ducks and talking animals and weird things like that now, because that's all we get, basically, all summer long.
Yeah, but it would have been CGI out the wazoo.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it would have been.
If they do decide to make a Howard the Duck film now, that's exactly what it's going to do.
Because I haven't seen this film in at least 20-something years. That I had no idea what to expect from it, because I haven't seen it, like I said, forever. It starts out really... I mean, they show, like, ducks with boobs and nipples taking showers, and he's, like, reading Playboys, and I'm just like, okay, I can kind of understand why this wasn't successful back then.
Yeah, well, I think people have gotten too PC as well, and it's, you know, even then, I think people were like, you know, they didn't get it. They didn't get the humor behind all of it. Is really what it was. There's a dark humor to this whole movie. And
I think the first half of this film, I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty funny. It's pretty entertaining. And I can tell you, for me anyway, when this film just hit the freaking wall, Vince, it hit the wall and just like a scrambled egg. I'm going to give as many egg references in this film as I can, Vince.
Yeah, egg reference. Yeah, I get it. I see what you did there.
Did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah, I get it. I get your humor, too.
Oh, okay. So, the one character in the film that I hate, I think he's horrible, is the one that she takes Howard to. Like the scientist guy. He's the most annoying, horrible actor ever. I just hate the guy.
That's Tim Robbins.
I can't stand him. Just horrible, horrible guy.
I actually don't care for him anyway. That's what he was supposed to be. I mean, that's his part. He's this annoying guy that keeps messing with Howard. You know, Howard gets upset with him several times.
Yeah, I know, and he's terrible. And then he's on the freaking plane for like 25 minutes in this film, and it's not exciting. It's horrible. The guy that's on the back, that stupid idiot's on the back of the plane making jokes and yelling. Oh, I hated that. I hated it. I almost couldn't watch it anymore. It was so bad.
I don't know. I guess I've seen it so many times that I just, you know, I don't even bother with that anymore. It's like, when it gets to that point, yeah, it's like the movie starts to dive right there. It's like you said. I mean, the egg hits the wall. You know, by the time they get to the science lab and they're trying to they're bringing down the Dark Overlords, it was almost as if they didn't know how to end the film. It was like they got to a point where they were like, okay, they painted themselves in a corner and wasn't sure exactly how to fix it.
After that sequence, I think the movie, for me anyway, became better. I didn't mind the fact that they went to the lab and had this weird CG, or I was thinking it was CG. No, it wasn't CG. It was stop motion. Oh yeah, the Dark Overlord from the universe. All that I didn't mind. I think it was kind of cool, and I think they could even have went darker with it if they wanted to. Where, you know, the stop motion Overlord, I didn't mind. He looked kind of goofy. He wasn't as good as he could have been, I guess. If they had a really awesome monster there, I think it would have saved the film, or at least the last half of it. But he wasn't that awesome looking, I don't think.
By the time it gets to that point, it just gets so goofy that you're like, even though it's like I say, it's like a dark humor, or maybe it's more tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. It's just, you know, it just, at that point, it got silly.
But then, after all that was over, and then they had that final concert. I'll always love that final concert of the movie, where she's up there singing with the rest of the people. I don't know why, but that was one of my favorite parts of the whole film, was when she's up there singing, "Howard the Duck!" I mean, that was one of my favorite parts of the film. I don't know why, but I've always loved that.
Yeah, I always like that too. I always like the concert at the end, and I don't know. I like it too when it gets to when they get to the lab, but it just, like I said, at that point the movie got really, really silly. Then
my rating of this film after watching it all these years later is I would give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 eggs.
1, 2, 5. 3, 3.
Exactly.
See what I did there?
I saw it, yeah.
A movie that really, all these years, I mean, I've always really been entertained by this film. And actually, it's one of those movies that, even though it flopped at the box office, I talk to people nowadays, and if I mentioned Howard the Duck, I said, yeah, I always liked Howard the Duck. And they'll go, yeah, I love that movie too. And I've never actually heard somebody say, oh, that was stupid. That was the worst thing I've ever saw. So I think more people understand it now. More people get it now than they did then. But for myself, after all these years, my rating for it would be a 4 out of 5.
Alright, so now let's get on to the Blu-ray extras and whatnot. Now, I've never owned this film on Blu-ray or VHS or anything, so the quality of the film, the actual video quality of this film, I thought was pretty spectacular, actually.
It is. Actually, I have owned it. I have it on DVD.
Now, I think what really helps it a lot, watching it this way, is you can see all of the detail that they put into Howard. And he looks great in the film. Even though it's a guy in a costume, I mean, just the detail in the costume really comes out on his Blu-ray. You can really see all the detail, and it makes him more alive than it just does if he's a blurry duck on screen.
Totally agree. I mean, the picture quality of this is just phenomenal. The sound, not so much. The sound is pretty standard.
So the extras on here, we have a look back at Howard the Duck. Now this, I've never seen any of the extras. I've never seen anything about Howard the Duck. This is the first time I've ever watched any of these. I'm just letting you know.
All the bonus features on here, all the extras on here, all the featurettes, each and every one of them are exactly what was on the DVD. There's nothing new to it.
Yeah, I think they said that a look back at Howard the Duck was made in 2006 or 2009, something like that.
Right. That's when the DVD came out.
Yeah, so it's nothing new. But I still really enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job with it. And I loved hearing all the stories with Lea Thompson and I don't know what the guy's name is, the guy that was in Ferris Bueller, the Dark Overlord.
It was Jeffery Jones.
And I've always liked that actor, and he was great in this film. The one thing that really annoyed me, though, is the director was like, oh, well, he really worked on his role, and he was really worked on his voice of the Dark Overlord to get that right, and it took him a while to... I mean, anyone can talk like the Dark Overlord, Vince. I am the Dark Overlord. I am coming to take over the world. I mean, it's not like, a special voice or anything. Anyone can do that voice. Become the Dark Overlord. Do it, Vince, right now.
I am the Dark Overlord of the universe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what he sounded like. I wish they would have...
She took my eggs.
I wish they would have enhanced his voice somehow so he sounded a little bit more evil.
She took my eggs.
So they had the directors on here, and Lea Thompson, and everybody talked about the film, and the director's like, hey, let's make this in Hawaii, because they wanted to go to Hawaii. And so that's one of the reasons I think they wanted to make this film.
They ended up in Cleveland.
So, I don't know. I really liked the making of it. I thought it was really pretty good. The one thing that really got to me watching this was Lea Thompson, because she came off this huge success for Back to the Future, right? I mean, she was riding that wave of popularity. Then she made this, which is considered, back then anyway, the worst film ever made. One of the interviews in here, she said that the next job she went to, she didn't know how to act because she was so messed up from this film. She was trying to act and she just burst into tears because she didn't know what to do anymore.
She got such bad reviews, or the movie got such bad reviews, she didn't think she could go on.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. I mean, a movie, you know, has that much effect on you. I was like, wow, that's crazy. The one scene in this film I thought was so bizarre, even watching it now, because I had forgotten about it, is when she's in bed with Howard and she's about to have sex with him. She seemed perfectly fine in an interview with that, and I just thought, okay, that's just so weird. Oh yeah, me and the duck was about to have sex, and I'm like, it's just weird. I don't know. She seemed like she was perfectly fine if they had gone through with that sex scene.
Well, I don't think she would have let it go that far, but I think it was one of the... She was fine with it because she understood the humor of what the movie was. That it had this tongue-in-cheek humor to it.
But it did get hot and steamy there, is what I'm saying. They were going for humor, but I don't think it came off more serious than it did humor, right, in that sequence.
I don't know. I don't think it would have gone to the bestiality kind of thing that people thought that it was going to do.
So the rest of the stuff on here was all the really, really old stuff that came out, I guess, way back in the day. The look back at Howard the Duck was like the only really new feature. The rest of the stuff is like they made when they made the film.
Well, there's also the music of Howard the Duck, which they talked about Thomas Dolby and how he made the soundtrack. But when he was putting all the songs together, he was like, well, I'm going to get all the girls that were in the Cherry Bomb band that's in the movie, and I'm going to have them actually sing it. So he actually, you know, trained them on how to sing, and it's them. So when you hear the soundtrack, it's actually them singing it. They didn't have any voiceovers or anything. And
that's something that Lea Thompson said, was that it was so difficult to make this film because she actually did have to learn how to play a guitar and learn how to sing and do all these practical effects. And she said it was a really difficult film, and when it came out and it bombed, I think that's what affected her so much. So in all the extras, I really liked the extras. The best part, I think, was the look back at Howard the Duck, and the rest of it was sort of, it can be a throwaway because it's all old from the 80s, and they're just sitting around the set talking about, you know, what they wanted to do and how they made the film and, you know, how great it's going to be and all this other stuff. But yeah, I thought the extras were pretty good.
I did too. I thought they were good for what they are. And my only disappointment with it was I would have liked to seen some deleted stuff, because there are some deleted scenes from this film that they've never really shown. And I would have also liked to have seen the actual music video, because they filmed a music video with that concert at the end, and they actually made a whole video of it. And I've seen the video before, but they don't have it on here, so that was kind of a disappointment. I really wish they would have thrown that on there.
Well, if they ever do come out with a new Howard the Duck film, I'm sure they will come out with a special edition Blu-ray, because that's what they do, and they'll have all that stuff on there for you.
Yeah, probably. Which means I'm going to have to double dip.
So in all, I would probably give the extras a 3 out of 5, just like the film.
And I would second that. I would say 3 out of 5.
It was a lot of fun going back and watching this film. I gotta say, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of a nostalgia thing, but it's fun. It's always been a fun movie for me, and I enjoyed it.
So if you guys like our reviews and you want to stick around, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can what?
So we can bring you more. Bring you more of what you enjoy here at Box Office Maniacs.
And we're here all summer long. If you like it or not, we're here, though.
Whether you want it or not.
Exactly. We're still going to give it to you.
You wanted me to,
Howard the Duck.
Do you like to see what I see?
Ain't no way to explain him.
Yeah, that's it. I've been doing too much toot.